Okay. Immigration during the 1920s was an abundance of foreigners entering the United States. Many of these immigrants came over from their native lands to escape going to jail, poverty, and discrimination, or benefiting from our better economic status. When they arrived in the United States, they weren't sure what to do because they had no food, shelter, or money. They took the jobs that no Americans wanted to do, which benefit our economy on a huge scale. However, today's immigrants seem to take our generosity for granted and are sneaking past our borders illegally to benefit only themselves, and that is definitely a problem. Today I'm here to convince you that illegal immigration is wrong and the effects that illegal immigration have had on our economy. I've been investigating this issue for a week or so now, and the information I found definitely strengthened my position on illegal immigration. As Southern Californians, I'm sure we all know that being bilingual is basically a must, and having to press 1 for English seems a little funny. Yet that is just how it is, or what things have turned into. The first thing that I'd like you to know about are the ways in which illegal immigration is harming our employment rates. It says on a plaque in the Statue of Liberty, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." Foreigners took those words much too literally. When that was written there, it was in reference to coming here legally and giving back to the country in which you were returned for what you were given. When the illegal immigrants arrive, they have to find a job to make a living. That is more than likely the reason they came over in the first place. An opportunity to obtain the American dream. By doing this, they are taking job opportunities away from Americans. The fact that they are willing to work for less than minimum wage and are willing to get their hands dirty makes them more desirable to most companies. Also, since they have no social security number, they are in no way responsible for paying taxes or can have their wages regulated to standard. However, those companies that hire them are committing an illegal act and put themselves in position to be reprimanded by the government. Illegal immigrants are working in construction, hospitality, manufacturing, restaurants, administrative, and service jobs. These are all jobs that are wanted and needed by our American citizens, especially in this time of recession. What employers really want in many cases by hiring immigrants is to hold down wage costs. A writer at the Population and Development Review said, "While low-skilled immigrants maintain strong employment levels, they are concentrated in the most menial, low-skilled jobs, and their wages are declining relative to those of our natives." Business owners needed illegal workers because there weren't enough Americans willing to do dirty and lowly jobs. Now citizens are lining up for jobs they once would have rejected. Yet most employers still want the illegal immigrants. American workers can't compete against immigrants who are willing to work for low pay and under unreasonable conditions. And many business owners use vast supply of dependable labor the immigrants provided and is responsible for much of the growth in industries such as construction and landscaping. Now, in a time of shrinking profits, those productive and loyal workers could mean the difference between survival and failure, definitely making employers want to hold on to them. When most people think of identity theft, checkbooks and credit cards come to mind, but a social security number or birth certificate is equally, if not more, valuable to someone not able to work legally in the United States. This is what some illegals resort to in order to get a better job. Stealing a social security number so that they can appear legal and get the benefit of at least minimum wage when working instead of working for much less. Undocumented workers find identities in different ways, some by drawing social security numbers simply out of the air, some even borrowing identities from family members or friends, some buying forged documents on the streets from coyotes or people smugglers. The identities they adopt sometimes are those of actual people, others are complete fabrications. Now that you have an idea of how illegal immigration is affecting our workforce, let's talk about how it is distressing our healthcare system. Another problem is illegal immigrants' use of hospital emergency services rather than preventative medical care. For many illegal immigrants, the fear of deportation outweighs the pain of illness or injury, so they live with their illness or injury rather than seeking help until their health problems become critical. That makes things worse for them, for hospitals that eventually treat them, and for taxpayers who ultimately foot the bill. The cost of medical care of these uninsured immigrants is passed on to the taxpayer and strains the financial stability of the healthcare community. The LA Times stated that California is forced to slash their budgets. Some California counties are even eliminating non-emergency healthcare services for illegal immigrants. Many California hospitals cannot afford to absorb the costs, and many are forced to close due to financial mandates for treating illegal immigrants. Hospital closures degrades healthcare in all community and results in job losses. Federal laws provide state incentives to provide Medicaid coverage to illegal immigrants. All state Medicaid programs offer an endless list of services. Medi-Cal covers baby maternity care, delivery expenses, and long-term care for children born to illegal immigrants. According to a recent study conducted by the Metropolitan Chicago Healthcare Council, Chicago will need more than 9 500-bed hospitals by 2020. Hospitals also are writing off as much as $2 billion a year in unpaid medical bills to treat illegal aliens who are ineligible for Medicaid. By forcing the closure of hospitals, we also risk spreading previously vanquished diseases and threatening to destroy America's healthcare system. But not being insured does not mean that they don't get medical care. Under the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act of 1985, hospitals are obligated to treat the uninsured without reimbursement. Also, many illegal immigrants have fatal diseases that American medicine fought to get rid of long time ago, such as malaria, leprosy, the plague, and even polio. Denying health care to one segment of the population puts everyone at risk, as communicable diseases go untreated and emergency rooms become even more crowded, says Anna Gorman of the LA Times. While illegal immigration affects our jobs in hospitals, it also greatly impacts our schooling systems. Californians are tired of paying school and other taxes that support illegal immigrants and their families. They involve each of us as community members and taxpayers, and also as employers. Education is the largest public cost associated with illegal immigration and it's likely to have long-term consequences. Whether we like it or not, these children will probably remain in the U.S. and become adults who either contribute to the economy or not. There are many problems public schools face every day in their attempts to serve students. Most of these problems have to do with the resources, or lack thereof, that the school system has. For instance, public schools are required by law to provide special education services for students with disabilities in accommodating these students. School systems must find ways to use their funding and human resources to fulfill their legal and social duties. Yet if they also have illegal immigrants in their classrooms, then teacher would also have to deal with a language barrier they might not normally have to worry about. The U.S. News and report states that schools in many cities are severely overcrowded. California is facing nothing less than a facilities crisis. Also, when schools faced with a non-English speaking population, they must find teachers who are bilingual to teach students enough English so that they can operate under normal academic conditions. Unfortunately, many of these students, upon return from various ESL programs, are still unable to understand the advanced language in textbooks and other materials, nor are they necessarily qualified to write at the same level as English-speaking students. This also may trigger the lower test scores and high dropout rate, which may push the school system to extreme measures to be able to fund the education of all of their students. There are about 6 million students in most overcrowded California public schools. Of that total, about a quarter, or 1.5 million, are students whose primary language is not English. This overcrowding is just an inconvenience, but rather a serious dilemma requiring resource distribution. Funding for California students with limited English has tripled since 1986. Now that you have an idea of what illegal immigration is doing to our country, this is what I think about the situation. My claim of value is that I fully disagree with illegal immigration. Immigrating illegally to another country and exploiting it for your benefit and their loss is just wrong. If someone wants to move here for better opportunities in pursuing the American dream, then all power to them. Although, then they should also be civil enough to apply for citizenship and become a legal citizen. While most people don't want to go through the trouble of applying for citizenship and waiting years to become a citizen, waiting is their best option because they will have equal opportunity and can legally fulfill their ideals of the American dream without the constant fear of being deported. American job loss, healthcare burdens, and the overcrowding of our education systems are all traced back in some way to illegal immigration. The negative impact it has on our society and how it directly affects you should be enough to motivate us to agree that it is wrong and to put it to an end. As I stated before, it says in the Statue of Liberty, "Give me your tired and your poor," yet this time the tables have turned. And that's exactly what illegal immigration has done to us instead. We are now the ones who are tired and poor. Thank you.